dancing until we have a thing. You have no idea where this could take you.
Get ready to move. MPROS is ready to dance again. They say we must dance. And the school tour is a big hit that continues. They're joining us this morning by way of founder of MPROS, Mr. Vennorick Cupid, and telling us what schools are listed is first on the agenda. Good morning, Mr. Cupid, and welcome back to the Now.
Good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Always a delight, as we could see from the visuals. The students thoroughly enjoy it, the teachers enjoy it, and I'm living vicariously through them both until you reach Trinidad. Tell me right off the bat, have we decided on what schools we are going to already? Because I know the ones you visited want you to come back.
Yes, so I'm happy to say that this year we are taking a wider approach. So in addition to the secondary schools on the island of Tobago, we will be visiting a few primary schools on the island, and we will be making our way over to Trinidad briefly to visit some Trinidad schools. So happy about that.
Yay! Finally! Because this is not the first time you guys have done this school tour. So congratulations on being able to branch out into primary schools as well. But beyond that visual that we just saw, it doesn't tell us how many schools you actually went to. So what was the number last time around?
Last year we had the all clear to visit 3 schools on the island, secondary schools. That was Compre, Mason Hall, and Speyside. And that snowballed into us being demanded to visit other schools on the island. So this year, our initial goal was to move from 3 schools and try to visit 12 schools. So it's a bigger jump from last year.
For sure. Now, in terms of making those moves, did you have any sorts of partners or institutions that helped you to make that possible?
We have reached out to a number of entities regarding support, especially with this theme this year. Our theme is less violence, more dancing. So we actually catered a bit more to healthy expression through movement. And we are proud to say that one of our number one die-hard supporters, one of our die-hard partners in this initiative is Fog Angels Tobago Juve Mass. So beyond being a title on the road for Tobago Carnival, Fog Angels also cares deeply about the next generation and how they manifest their latent and their feelings inside of them.
I am glad that you've touched on manifest their latent potential in them, because that's exactly what this dance movement does. Tell me about the reception that you've received from the students of this school and what you have seen, not just in terms of schools, but amongst the youth who choose dance.
So this has started off last year because last year was the first time we did it in February, and it was one of those things where we wasn't too sure what we would expect going into it being our first time. And the feedback was so overwhelming that it literally boosted everybody who was on the tour to said, hey, we need to do this again. We need to let other schools experience this. And then when the visuals came out, we had schools from Trinidad, we had 2 schools from Jamaica, even reaching out to our social media saying, hey, my school will love this. Could you bring this over to my school? And the last school I reached out, I think it was a school in Point 14 about 2 days ago. I think it was a member of staff would have reached out and said, hey, my students will love this initiative because you're using trendy media that they know, which is song and dance, but in a positive way, and you're and you're mixing it with positive and inspirational messaging. So it retains with the students and them, especially how we want to push that no violence. We want to push that healthy expression narrative this year around.
Fantastic work then. And you also are incorporating the heritage too, because we saw a bit of stick fighting taking place. And I wondered what the reception was to specifically the stick fighting element.
Um, no, we are very, very fortunate in Tobago because Tobago isn't really that stick fighting friendly, but we had a person who would have witnessed it, which is Mr. Dominic, which is a drum tutor in culture, and that is something that he's very passionate about. So what he did, he just gave them like a little introductory course with all the safety measures, no direct striking, everything, just to see if they would enjoy the feeling, enjoy the, that sort of competition, that sort of head to head, and they loved it. So what we are hoping for that Tobago could actually learn a lot more about the stick fighting. We know that there are a lot of great practitioners in the island of Trinidad. So that is something that the students, we are happy to say, is open to once all the safety precautions and everything, safety measures are put in place, because we know how stick fighting could get.
Of course, of course. And ultimately, we want to choose more dance and less violence. So we want to make sure that agenda continues. How will that be encompassed in this school tour this time around?
So last year, when we did it, we morely focused on dance education, getting the males to express themselves. This year, in addition to dancing, we are going to have a token reward system, and we have different activities. So some of them may be reenactments to teach them, well, if you're in this situation, what is the right way to go about it? So it's going to be a blend of how to express yourself if you're dealing with something, healthy channels you could take, and then the students and then will be rewarded as such. So we're gonna blend that with some of the dancing principles. So we're gonna let them know if you're having a bad day, instead of listening to negative music or instead of looking for negative avenues, you could try this healthy measure. You could try this other healthy measure, and you could see that it will have a better long-lasting effect on your mental.
This sounds fantastic, Mr. Cupid. And I really can't wait, not just to reach Trinidad, but to see those kids bust all those moves, because they were having a time and a half from that promo video. Of course, in my mind, though, when you say giving them healthy coping mechanisms, I'm thinking instead of fights, they're going to have dance battles, and I'm here for it either way.
Yes, anything that doesn't bloodshed.
Are there any things in particular that stuck out to you from those school visits that you'd like to see happen more or look forward to again?
Um, the one thing that I would say that stood out to me like that is how refreshing the students and even some of the staff reacted to a different approach to connecting with the students. Because from what we would have gotten from them is like most of the person that would have come to them is more like talking, the students listen. And we know with young people, listening isn't always the best way for something to stick with them. Some young people have very short attention span. So a more hands-on experience, an experience that cater to what they gravitate to. And we just change that into something that we would want it to be. And that's why I'm very adamant regarding using what they know, but manipulating it to have the outcome that we want, other than trying to push something that we want and it's not clicking with them at this tender age.
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, clearly you are getting through to them, so keep doing what you're doing. But by that definition,
so
people
much.
with a short attention span and who learn by experience, I might be a young person too, so I'm liking this. Tell me though, how can we find out what schools will make the cut in terms of the 12 or more this time around?
So we have the best way that I would recommend is that you follow our social media, especially on Instagram and TikTok, because we have a lot of students engaging posts and stories. Like recently, I think the day before yesterday, I had a post where we were doing a reveal and we had them poll it, and a lot of the students and them was like, yes, let it be our school. So we kind of had it in an interactive sort of base. And unfortunately, I would say we cannot visit all the schools and them, and that is something that really burdens us because we would like to spread our reach and spread our message very far. But due to the complexity of this semester, also with the limited funding that we would have, so I'm advocating also here. If you are a practitioner, if you're somebody that believe in positive expression for kids, if we are open to partnerships because we need to do this together to make sure that the young generation learns different ways to deal with it. We are seeing too much fights, especially in recent media, and we need to show them a different way. So reach out to us, MPROS TikTok, MPROS IG, MPROS Facebook. We are highly, highly interactive and we welcome partnership. Let us as a collective mold this young generation in the way that we want them to be. Let us nurture our males, our females, and our leaders.
Fantastic stuff then. Just to confirm though, we're looking at the 23rd of June as a start time for the tour, or that's when we close off the list of schools? The 23rd is the date to keep in mind for what?
So the 23rd is actually the official start, and by that is the day that we will be in Trinidad. But we will most likely be starting as soon as next week, either next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. We will be visiting 2 schools on the island because we know this is around test time. So we have to work with the flexibility not to throw off the school's curriculum.
Right.
But 23rd to the 27th, that whole week is carded to be our week of the tour. So we will be up and about every day that week, up and about from Trinidad back to Tobago, to on the west, to the east. So we'll be up and about.
Fantastic stuff. Well, let me wish you the best of luck. Fantastic performances. And I hope that Jamaica comes into the fold as well. Go as far as you can because we must dance.
We must dance. Thank you so much.
Vennorick Cupid, the founder of MPROS, joining us this morning to tell us about the school tour kicking off on the 23rd of June. Move with them and move with us as we continue here on the Now Morning Show after these messages.